Welcome in our guest, Steve Moore from the Wall Street Journal. I tell you, Steve, that more Americans are now working now than ever at any point before part-time, and the second largest employer in the United States of America behind Walmart is a temp agency.
Yeah, these are amazing statistics, aren't they, Steve? And what we found was that in the last jobs report that a lot of people in Washington were celebrating, every one of those new jobs on net, every one of them, Steve, was a 20, 25, 28-hour-a-week job. They weren't full-time work. And it's a hard time to raise your family and pay your bills and your medical expenses and your gasoline bills and your grocery bills when you don't have a full-time job. And this is a big, big problem with the current American economy.
It's up, and the number is up 3% from June of last year. 3% more people are now working part-time jobs, and that's out of necessity, and it's scary.
These are people who, let's be clear about this, there are a lot of Americans who work part-time jobs because they want to.
Right.
Someone, maybe a spouse who wants to work 15 or 20 hours a week, that's fine, and we want that kind of flexibility in the labor force. The problem here is that we've got millions of Americans who want a full-time job, need a full-time job, and can't find one. And you mentioned the point that I think is critical here, which is a lot of federal policies, including Obamacare, are encouraging federal employers around the country to cap their workers at 30 hours a week because of the Obamacare law.
Steve, I was just watching, I don't know what station it was yesterday. Oh, yes, I do. It was Fox News Channel. It was John Stossel, and it was late at night, and they run his show on the weekends there. And he had on the owner, this owner of a restaurant chain, and he was talking about how, look, facts are facts. I am going to have to take people from full-time, put them on part-time, and they're going to have to go find another part-time job to supplement the hours they're losing because of Obamacare. That's and we haven't even seen that full effect yet.
Well, that's right. And, because the law, everybody's confused about what's happening with this law now, Steve.
Right.
Because, it's been suspended a year, but employers certainly didn't know that a couple of weeks ago, so they were preparing for this barrage of new regulations and mandates, and what they were doing was they were cutting back on their workforce. Now, I gave a talk not long ago to a group of people who own franchises to Burger Kings and Wendy's and Red Lobsters and Applebee's, and the fast food restaurant industry and the restaurant industry generally hires about 20 million Americans. So it's, you want to talk about major employers in this country.
Right.
And I can't tell you how many of these people told the same thing to me that they told John Stossel. I am not going to hire more than 50 workers. And in fact, some of them have 60 or 70 say I'm cutting back to 50. And others said, I'm not hiring people more than 30 hours a week.
It is insane. And Steve, there's another report out today. The numbers of Americans getting food aid from the federal government is 101 million, which is more than our private sector workers in this country. That's staggering.
Steve, that is a frightening statistic. I had not heard that. I knew that we had 50 million or so on food stamps, and then we got a lot on school lunch and other nutrition
101
programs.
million.
101 million is look, at some point, you do become a nation of people in the wagon, and you wonder who's left to pull the wagon.
No, that's absolutely true. So, you and I've been privileged to talk to you over so many years, and we're still in the same mess, right? And again, what we always come down to uncertainty. Regulations, uncertainty of regulations, uncertainty of pending regulations, and then the uncertainty of regulations we don't even know about yet, and taxes, et cetera. And that's where we are right now, correct?
Yeah, we are. In fact, I was on Fox News this morning talking about that when you talk about it's today, it's not just the tax burden, which is, over $1 trillion in terms of income taxes and then another $1 trillion for payroll taxes. Then you have $1.5 trillion hidden tax, which is regulations. Of course, what we've been talking about with Obamacare, those are regulations, right, Steve? Those are rules that require these firms to provide these generous health care benefits, and so they say, okay, to hell with you, I'm not going to hire anybody at all.
Right.
You can require me to pay the benefits, but you can't require me to hire somebody. And the people who get hurt here the most are the people at the bottom end.
Absolutely.
The people at the bottom, because those are the ones who don't have the jobs that they so desperately need in this flimsy economy right now.
Steve, I appreciate talking to you always, and thank you for your time, sir.